When we hear the word war, our minds immediately imagine soldiers on battlefields, tanks crossing borders, fighter jets in the sky, and nations locked in conflict. We think about victory and defeat. We think about sacrifice, bravery, and national pride. But today, I want to talk about something that rarely appears in the headlines, something that is almost never counted among the casualties of war. War is not fought only between two nations. Death and loss are not suffered only by the warring sides. There is another victim, a silent one, an unsaid casualty, the environment. When wars begin, the world focuses on military strategy, national security, and political outcomes. Battles are fought to establish order. Sometimes they are fought in the name of freedom. Sometimes they are fought to serve national interests. But rarely do we stop and ask a simple question. If we destroy the environment that sustains life, what is the value of victory? Think about it for a moment. Bombs don't only destroy buildings. Missiles don't only target military bases. Explosions don't only affect soldiers. They burn forests. They poison rivers. They contaminate soil. They pollute the air. And the scale of this damage is enormous. Today, global militaries together are responsible for roughly 5.5% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. If the world's militaries were a country, they would rank among the largest polluters on the planet. Every bomb dropped releases toxic chemicals. Military vehicles burn massive amounts of fuel. War zones become landscapes filled with smoke, debris, and contamination. History gives us powerful examples. During the Gulf War, retreating forces set fire to more than 600 oil wells. Those fires burned for 8 months, releasing nearly 1 billion barrels of oil into the environment. The sky turned black with smoke. Birds died covered in oil. The desert ecosystem was poisoned, and the environmental damage lasted long after the war ended. Another example comes from the Vietnam War. During that conflict, chemical defoliants were used to destroy forest cover. As a result, over 3 million hectares of forest were destroyed, permanently damaging ecosystems and biodiversity. Entire forests that took centuries to grow disappeared in just a few years. And unlike cities, the environment does not rebuild itself quickly. After wars end, nations rebuild. Buildings are reconstructed. Roads are repaired. Governments are reorganized. Economies slowly recover. History has shown us that communities can rise again from devastation. But the environment does not recover in the same way. A forest destroyed by warfare may take hundreds of years to return. A river contaminated by chemicals may remain polluted for generations. Wildlife driven out of their habitats may never return. And sometimes the damage becomes permanent. War leaves another hidden danger across the planet. Today, experts estimate that more than 110 million landmines remain buried across over 60 countries. These hidden explosives do not just threaten human lives. They prevent forests from being restored. They stop farmers from cultivating land. They turn entire ecosystems into permanent danger zones. Nature becomes a battlefield long after the war has ended. What makes this tragedy even more profound is how we, as humans, respond to war. We celebrate victories. We mourn defeats. We argue about which side is right or wrong. Entire nations feel pride or sorrow depending on the outcome. But in reality, there is one side that always loses. The environment. No matter who wins the war. No matter which flag rises at the end. No matter who signs the peace agreement. The forests do not win. The rivers do not win. The oceans do not win. And ultimately, humanity does not win either. Because our survival is directly tied to the health of our planet. We breathe the air that surrounds us. We drink water from our rivers and lakes. We grow food in the soil of the earth. When war damages these systems, it damages the very foundation of life itself. And the environmental impact of war does not remain local. Smoke from burning oil fields travels across continents. Polluted rivers carry toxins into oceans. Explosions release massive carbon emissions into the atmosphere. In fact, modern conflict have already produced hundreds of millions of tons of carbon emissions, accelerating the global climate crisis. In a world already struggling with climate change, war pushes the planet even closer to irreversible damage. And here is the painful truth. While wars may last for years, the environmental consequences can last for centuries. Future generations, children who were never part of the conflict, will inherit the damage. They will breathe polluted air. They will struggle with degraded land. They will face climate instability made worse by conflicts they never chose. In that sense, war does not just steal lives in the present. It steals opportunities from the future. Today, as we watch conflict unfold across the world, we often focus on geopolitics, alliances, and military strength. But perhaps we need to expand our perspective. Perhaps we need to start asking leaders a new question. What will this war cost the planet? Because once ecosystems collapse, once biodiversity disappears, once natural systems are broken beyond repair, no peace treaty can restore them overnight. If we lose our environment completely, what will remain to protect? What borders will matter on a planet that can no longer sustain life? What national interest will exist if our forests disappear, our oceans rise, and our climate becomes unstable? War is often justified as a way to create order, but destroying the natural world only creates deeper chaos. Real security does not come from weapons alone. Real security comes from a healthy planet, clean water, stable climate, fertile soil, biodiverse ecosystems. These are the foundations of civilization. Without them, no nation, no matter how powerful, can thrive. So perhaps it is time for humanity to rethink what victory truly means. Victory should not only be measured by territory gained or enemies defeated. Victory should also be measured by what we preserve, the forests we protect, the rivers we keep clean, the ecosystems we allow to flourish. Because protecting the planet is not just an environmental responsibility. It is a responsibility to humanity itself. At the end of every war, memorials are built to remember the fallen. But the environment has no memorial, no monument for the forests burned, no ceremony for the rivers poisoned, no tribute for the wildlife that disappears silently. Yet these losses affect every single one of us. We may stand on different sides during conflicts, but when the planet suffers, we all stand on the same losing side. Because in the long term, we are not just losing wars. We are losing our Earth. And the question humanity must answer is simple. Will we continue fighting battles that destroy the only home we have? Or will we finally recognize that the greatest victory humanity can achieve is protecting the planet that sustains us all?